Hey, this is Nick from Remedy667.com, the best place on the internet for horror-themed fonts and typefaces. Today is Horror Font Friday over here, and the type that we're looking at today comes from a board game that my wife and I had picked up in Ohio for the Walt Disney's Haunted Mansion game. I want to say it's from 1974. I could be wrong, but this is the tagline: "The chilling challenge to escape the spinning spooks." And I thought that was some pretty cool lettering. There's some other pretty cool lettering on the box as well, but I figured this would be a good one to start with and be kind of fun because we don't typically mess around with lowercase. And this has some lowercase. This also has a lot of really messy angles. And I think we'll probably just do the alphabet today because it's, I don't know, it's a lot to it. There's only 4 letters anyway to do caps. So got my Verners from the Midwest. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. So one thing that we're going to do is I am going to pull a letter in, just this S, and possibly this escape, which I will rotate. I just want to look at the sizes. I want to make sure that I get my cap heights and baseline kind of where I want them, because since I'm working with sorry, I feel like I'm being really loud. Since I'm working with lowercase today, I'm going to want an X height, right? So the other thing we're going to try to do is we're going to kind of get these vertically correct. And that's going to be tricky. Oh, and by the way, the movie we're watching today is Quincy Jaws, who I found out about this from my friend Dan Cedarholm, who runs Simple Bits. And it's like a shot-for-shot remake of Jaws that took like 8 years to film, but it's in Massachusetts, which I think the original is supposed to be in Massachusetts. Or no, Rhode Island. That's why they have Narragansett as the beer that they drink. Yeah. So this one's in Massachusetts. Everybody has a Massachusetts accent. It's great. So enough jawing on. Let's go ahead and see what letters we have. We got an E, we got an H. Let's take this H because it's not preoccupied. J, we got an L, we got a G, we got an N, another H, another E, another N, G, E. We got a T and an O. Kind of stuck together. In this escape button here, we have a C and an S, but I think we're going to take this S, and we got a P. And I think that's probably all the letters we have. Let's take one of these O's. Except a K. Holy mother. Would you look at that K? It is out of control with the rest of this. This is a good variety of letters to start with. So let's take, there's 3 P's. P, P, P. Let's go ahead and rotate this P. I am going to cheat a little with this vertical line. I want it to like, I'm going to be putting letters over each other. I don't typically What? I don't typically do lowercase, so I'm just going to be checking myself a lot before I wreck myself a lot. So I'm going to say that my X height is going to be right here. Escape feels italic. I'm not wrong. So let's go ahead and duplicate that. I want to cut this one there and there. I want to try rotating it and see how it works with the E, or if it does have italic on it, or if it's just the capital E. It kind of looks like it might, but it is hard to tell. No, that actually looks pretty good. Oh, by the way, obviously I made my, I used my P to make my B and my D, but so there's some cleaning up that's going to happen. Whoa. Let's get off of the guide layer for one. So, some cleaning up that's going to happen. So with the P, that angle there is like that. As you can see, it also repeats in the D, but it's doing it on the top, not the bottom. You also notice with the A, it's kind of more of a flat bottom, but angles up like that. So we're going to have to kind of draw these in. I'm going to guess that this is going to be a flat bottom. And then this top is where we're going to hit that angle. And the same thing is going to happen here with the D. Let's clean up this nastiness right there. Yeah. This is still going to look hand-drawn, which we definitely want. We want to, you know, retain that kind of hand-drawn look. But we also want it to follow its typographic system so that it looks pretty clean. Sorry, I hit a button and it closed every window except Illustrator. So if I'm hit a weird face there, deal with it. Just kidding. So you notice the L, characters like the L are flat on the top and the bottom, same with the K. So I probably could have got away with that. Why is the K so large? This is crazy. So the I feel like wants to be that way, but it also has a little bit of italic to it. And I feel like all these letters kind of look like they may have a little bit of italic to them. And that's kind of the hand-drawn approach of this piece of lettering. Oh, I gotta open this window back up. Something exciting's happening. And it looks like it had froze anyway, so when I closed all the windows. Seeing as how it's still August, we just watched Jaws, I don't know, in July, because that's the time to do it. It was actually on the 4th because, and I know this because our TV broke on the 4th and we had to buy a new television set, and they're apparently really cheap now. At first we were like, oh, we can look into getting our TV fixed, but that was kind of price-wise didn't really make sense, which is kind of sad because kind of gets you into this system of throwing things away as opposed to trying to recycle or reuse or kind of keep things for longer. So the way this H is bent, it's almost making me wonder if I probably should have done a little bit better with that N. Because it was curved in, if you remember, but I was like, I don't like that. Well, I didn't say I didn't like it, but up here I did. So see the Q gets its angles going. We'll also smooth that out a little differently. Let's actually use a different N to make our R. This S I had in my Slack group the other day. I don't know who asked about it, but somebody had asked about drawing S's. And I was like, oh, well, I drew a little diagram because I'm a nerd. But I was like, this is how I make S's from C's. And everybody was like, I'd never seen that way before. And I was like, oh. I thought that was kind of interesting and flattering and cool because I'm kind of self-taught, but I do take a lot of classes that people offer. But even still, a lot of this way that I do this is kind of, my style's kind of a very made-up thing. Oh, it's so hard to. I think that T is supposed to be like this and is italic. I think it's supposed to function like that. However, I think that with the F, I want this height to be like where the K is, right? The F is going to be part of the L. And these little crossbars going to be from the T. Look at that. It's a beautiful thing.
Don't worry about it. $3,000 buys a lot of roast. Come and get it. The tide's taking it right out.
Whoops. Go ahead and group those. we're definitely gonna need a J that will come out of the F. We will just delete this little T middle and give it a rotate. And we will grab the tittle off of a different I. So it's gonna tuck up a little bit because I want it by the G. But then I do want it low like that for that IJ character, I think. I think hold on. James Edmiston, sorry, I'm going to say his name wrong because I'm a terrible friend. James Edmondson had said something about he was going to make all lowercase display fonts because people never do that. They always make them all caps. So that's what we're doing.
What are you doing out there? This place is crazy. These people are out of control. These are your people. These aren't my people. Have you seen the license plates out there? Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey? Where's all the summer help that they said they were going to give us? That's not till August. Until then, it's you and I. You know half of these guys over here. You know him. I need help. Hey, Brody? You know those 8 guys out there in the shark skiff?
All right.
They're going to make it out of the harbor alive. Lenny, this is what I'm talking about.
So with lowercase, I don't really get to use any of the tricks that I normally do to make the rest of my alphabet, except I think I can make a Y out of a G.
Look, I know you got me hands full today. What can I do for you? I'd really like to see you.
And a U.
First, go on the beach.
But whoops, group. Everything else is off the table. The Z's don't make the same. Nothing really makes the same. So you got to improvise. And before we improvise, we are going to delay. And we're gonna get our special characters ready. Because they're all slightly different in here. Now these would be our diacritics that we normally look at near the end. I gotta make sure I get the order correct. So when I do this, I normally do that character, then A, E, then F, then actually that's not the F. That's a totally different character right there. This is the I can't remember what it's called. I want to say Croat.
decimated and the partial remains.
The F actually looks like a 6. So I guess we will have to make some caps before we can get to that. We're going to clear that out. And that is going to be our lowercase thorn. And then those are our lowercase letters, except for the F. But you know what? We can probably make an F real quick. Out of...
Thank you very much. This is what happens indicating the non-frenzied feeding of a large squalus, possibly Angiominus or Glaucus oloris.
I want it to be like the same height there.
Any detailed analysis. The acting squalus shall be considerably larger than any other normal squalus.
So I think the cross that goes through the lowercase f is much thinner.
It was a shock.
And kind of angles like an X. Like that. Is that right? Lowercase f. It looks like it doesn't tip back in like that. Typically it just goes up into like an X. But we're gonna keep that how it is for the time being. And quit procrastinating and get back to our regular characters.
What's this bite radius crap? Why don't we stick your friggin' head in there and find out if it's a man-eater?
So W's and X's, we're gonna need a lot of straight lines.
So that's something I want to get beat up over.
Excuse me, let's get these.
What do you got going on?
We're also going to use the uppercase E, the same way we would.
It's 100 to 1. 100 to 1. No, not in these waters. Not in these waters. There's a lot of sharks out there. There's hammerheads, mako.
For
I don't know. What do we do? Listen, I'm not saying this isn't a shark. It probably is. It probably is. It's a man-eater. It's very rare for these waters. The fact is.
So first, we are going to make the V.
From the one found on the
Now the V is going to be mainly about width, and I think we're going to want it to actually be a little bit wider than some of these other characters, mainly because
found is still be in there. What I want to do is cut that shark open. I want to be sure.
it's a triangular shape, and we want it to still look as wide as everything else.
The only way to be sure, right?
Oh, Jim, let's be reasonable here. This isn't the time or place. If you perform no half-ass autopsy on no fish, and I'm not gonna stand here and see that thing cut open, see that little kid boy spill out all over the dock.
It's a pretty good looking V. Should also make the W from that, except there will be some
There was a shark out there. No, it was dangerous. Did you like people anyway?
just some slight variation. Oh,
But my son is dead now. And there's nothing that you can
we're gonna
do
group that, and then we're just gonna push it in a little bit.
My son is dead. I wanted you to know
That lady was great. That part always makes me crazy because it's like it was the mayor's fault that that kid died, and he makes the police chief take it out. Sorry, I'm talking about Jaws because that's what's going on behind me. That S looks so weird. Right? I'm going to duplicate it. I think it's angled. But I think it needs to be angled. I think it needs to rotate that way. And then angle. And I think that will help it. Help its cause a little bit. That looks a little more normal. That K still looks ridiculous. So what do we do now? X and a Z. So notice the width. Correction there.
Oh, no, thank you.
Sorry, I wanted that to kind of flatten off on the right.
How was your day? Well, I brought red and white. I didn't know what you'd be serving.
Oh, that's nice.
Is anybody eating this?
So this is going to,
So my husband tells me you're in shocks.
Well, I never really put it that way, but yes, I'm
we are going to group all those,
I hooked a 4.5-foot baby thresher shark.
smooth out the angles.
Did it by oars, my hooks, my seat cushions, turned my inboard into an outboard.
That Z looks a little thick.
I went back to shore, I looked back to see the shark.
We're going to thin it in a little bit, and that'll help with the thickness.
So yes, ever since then, I have been studying sharks. That's why I have to say, when I go to the institute tomorrow, I'm gonna have to tell them you still have a shark problem. Why do you have to say that?
X. Go and give it to you. Alright, so the reason I did that with the T
They caught a shark,
was because that crossbar here
not the shark that
was a little thinner, and I feel like blowing it up to that size might actually
cutting that shark open.
be good for the X.
You know, you're gonna be the only rational man on this island when I leave tomorrow.
Nope, it's got to sit like that.
The Aurora. What's that? It's a floating asylum. For sharks. Research.
Alright.
Martin hates the boats. Martin hates water. Martin sits in the car when we go over the ferry on the mainland. I guess it's your childhood.
Go ahead and rotate these. And this we're going to do.
It's called drowning. Isn't it true that most shark attacks occur in 3 feet of water, 10 feet offshore?
Yeah.
Isn't it true when people started swimming for recreation?
Group,
before
we're gonna
sharks
reflect
realized
this.
what was missing out, a lot of these attacks weren't reported.
That's correct.
Now, the shark that swims alone.
A rogue.
What's it called?
A rogue.
Rogue.
never to a reality. It's just a theory I agree with.
Let me finish this drink and go down and cut that sucker open.
Can you do that?
I can do anything. Chief of police.
All right, so there goes our lowercase alphabet there.
Let's go down and cut that shadow open. Where it is.
M should go before the N.
Just as wide and head down. Let's do it. Let's do it.
The X feels a little wide to me on this center bar, so I'm going to just go in and edit it a little bit.
Be quiet. Don't wake her up.
Both the top and the bottom.
I'll be back in an hour.
Where are we going, Chief? You need anything?
That looks much better. I like how it kind of cuts off in the top left. I think that echoes what we were talking about with the angle at the top of the D. Obviously the angle is different for the X, but it's sort of playing off the same idea, and I like that. Sorry, I had paused it, but this scene is out of control where they're going through the shark's body. You can actually watch this movie on YouTube, so I'll put a link to it in the bottom there. If you like Jaws, I think Dan said it's fun to skip around in this and kind of see how they did the different scenes from Jaws just in this different way, which is very cool.
I gotta call the mayor and notify the Coast Guard.
You got a bigger problem than that, man. You got a fish out there with a mouth about this big.
All right. So I'm going to save this as DSHH little, which is like haunted house little,
You get the late show on this?
right into my fonts folder.
You got all this fancy gear.
And then we're going to get that piece of lettering going and see how it looks. I'm starting to get
It doesn't make any
work.
sense. They pay a guy
Getting
like
motorcycle ads are coming in, so
Doesn't make any sense for a guy who's afraid of the ocean to leave it on.
definitely going to have to probably cut this one a little short.
if you look at it.
So I apologize, but
Now that makes
I have to do I have to do my freelance work before I make some letters, because that is what pays the bills. So Command K, this time we gotta go ABC in lowercase. So cool. DSHH little, there it is. And that looks pretty good. It almost has a medieval look to it
Don't touch any of this equipment. I'm gonna go grab my
because it's almost calligraphic with the angles. This is gonna get so wacky trying to build numbers from a lowercase instead of an uppercase. Let's see if it works the same. I don't think it does, but I can tell you this, that I made a font called Shadow Play. You can find it if you go digging on Reddit. It's free, and it was I think I mentioned this before, like I would go on, like for fun, go on the like what font is this board and find people posting weird pieces of lettering and asking if it was a font, and then moderators or other people, whoever, would just be like, that's not a font. That would be all that they would say. And it kind of just, I don't know, I feel like if I were like a junior graphic designer or something trying to figure out a font, or if there was a way to do it, like I'd be like, screw you, turkey, you know. But so I would go on there and give them. I would make these fonts that people were asking for, essentially the same way I'm doing this right now. Just I make it and then I go post it and then post the link on Reddit and people could go and download it. And I've made a few that way, but either way, I made one called Shadow Play. I don't know. That's all I got. I just, it's lowercase. That was the point of my story. I actually have a couple lowercase display fonts. One of them is called Ankle Biters, I want to say. And it is based on the lettering from the Horror of Frankenstein, like the Hammer film. What I'm doing here is kind of trying to make the 8 convince it. If I can convince the viewer that the 8 is kind of drawn like this. So I'm just trying to kind of make these angles mimic. Oh my god. That got so messy so fast. So this was actually the 9 that I was building when I made the C big like that. And it also got a little too thick. Maybe not for the 6, but definitely for the 9. And I also want the 9 to be in a little more like that, because it's its own letter. It's not a backwards 6. Misunderstood backwards 6. 7 I'm doing the same way I normally would do a 7. Just kind of angling it a bit. This is going to come out. And this side's going to come down. And that's really all that's going to happen with differences in the 7. Actually, that'll go in a little bit. Lock those guides, group that. It's a little trickier. I want to say this, I mean, I want to say I don't want to, this does not look good. These numbers are very clunky. They don't, the angles in them are bad from being stretched. They're, and I'm not saying that my, numbers are regularly great or anything, but these are exceptionally not so good. Ugh.
Page 1. Martin, get those people out of the water.
I'm much better at doing that with capitals. We're gonna just skip over all that. Let's do the favorite part.
the host. 2 kids with a cardboard fin. Is everybody okay over there? Did everybody get out of the water?
Shark in the pond! Shark in the pond!
Doesn't anybody got a gun?
Does that look even? We are going to join these. Our youngest is coming out this weekend. So that is fun. She will be coming over for dinner. Do some hanging out. My guess is that they are probably, I don't know. Well, their boyfriend is going to be out of town. So they're coming out to visit us. And it is one of our anniversaries. So my wife was like, maybe they're coming out for anniversary. And I was like, oh, that's exciting. But either way, it's fun. I am going to make tacos. And hopefully we will watch some Great North, because that show's pretty great. If you like Bob's Burgers. We used to watch Bob's Burgers as a family. And then, no. Then our oldest went to college and moved out. So we were like, we can't watch Bob's Burgers unless the whole family's here. And I was like, I love Bob's Burgers. So we had to find a new show, and we started watching The Great North. We actually watched a lot of other really not so good cartoons. But The Great North, that one did the job. Let's see. I think we can probably also get away with some of what comes next, because that is just going to be essentially an L and an S and an equal sign. This is actually kind of fun and different, doing this with lowercase. So that just thins out a little bit. I want to be that way. We'll also do punctuation, I think. How are we looking on time? We're at like 45 minutes. We'll also do punctuation before we leave. Before it's time to say goodbye. What else has been happening lately? Uncle Acid's going to be on tour next month. That's exciting if you're me. Or somebody else who likes that band in that old Black Sabbath-y style. I always get confused. I don't know if it's because we're always drinking Narragansett when we watch Jaws. But when Richard Dreyfuss's character comes in, I'm always like, where the hell is this guy? I know he came from the college. And I understand when his character comes in, but it's like, how did the surly guy with the boat even let him in there? Like, he seems so mad at the beginning. Or earlier in the movie, you know, before they... And I understand it's him, like, trying to prove himself or whatever, but holy moly. Ain't no fog bank. Wrong movie. My throat's getting scratchy. I have the air conditioning on because it's very warm in the world. I like that with a lowercase s.
Jesus H. Christ. When I was a boy, every little squirt wanted to be a harpooner
Group.
or a swordfishman. What have you got here?
Anti-shock cage.
Anti-shock cage? You go in the cage. Cage goes in the water. Sharks in the water. Ah, sharks.
Sharks.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we received orders for the sail back to Boston, and so nevermore shall we see you again.
What am I gonna tell the kids?
Tell him I'm going fishing.
Break it up, will you, Chief? You like
Group. We're actually going to dupe that group.
Come on now, Chief. This ain't no Boy Scout picnic. You, Chief, see you broke your rubbers.
I don't know where I heard or read James Edmondson talking about making lowercase display fonts, but it was probably Instagram. But it'd be interesting to kind of see where he went with that, like if what he ended up making. I always like, every once in a while he'll post something that's like something they're never gonna make, you know, that he's kind of messing around with, because I think he does the same thing I do. He just like kind of makes alphabets, but he doesn't do it the same way I do. When we went and saw him speak at the local college, he had been like visiting different cities, and he had been essentially making alphabets based on signs in the local cities, and it was pretty cool, the stuff that he had going on with that. All right, let's do punctuation, and then I think I might lay this to rest so I can go do some motorcycle ads before I have to go to sleep. IISS OG. This we want to not transform. I want to break it apart. Release the compound path. That's the word I'm looking for. Release the compound path.
later. I don't want them falling off the boat when we hit those rough waves. You even know how to tie a knot? They teach you that?
Oh, they're feeding the chum.
Chief,
Means they're gonna be bringing the shark out soon.
Hey, hope you're securing them down now, right? I don't want them falling off now when we hit the rough stuff, eh? Make sure you put that third one on there. We're gonna need 3. We're gonna need 3 for this shot. Chief, let's throw another chop off.
Watch above me. I think it'll pop up.
Who's driving this boat anyways?
Oh, maybe not.
No one. Jesus H. Christ.
When he gets the cigarette in his mouth, like when Ray sees Slimer in Ghostbusters. I want to reflect this. Okay. Delete that. So this is actually going to be a little thinner than the eye and come down lower. And that's just to kind of differentiate it from the eye.
Yeah, that's real fine, expensive gear you brought there, Mr. Hooper. I don't know what that plastic shark's gonna do with it. Might eat it, I suppose. No, I once seen a shark eat a rocking chair.
Or are they going to compare scars now? Because that's when they really become friends.
Chief, next time you just ask me, I'll tell you which line to pull.
Or become worthy
Out of the cave,
of the sea.
comes out of the hole, goes back into the cave. Not too good, is it, Chief? Not too easy. Let's try again.
No, they're doing sheep shanks.
Comes out of the cave, swims into the hole.
All right, well, this was a weird week. We drew lowercase lettering. We paid more attention to the movie than we probably should have when you're making lettering. And we made it through a lot more of this than I thought we would, but we did not make letters. And I want to say that when I made Shadow Play, that was in my phase of ganging up like 20 fonts on a document and not just 7. Yeah. But I waited till I was halfway through with everything else before I actually went back and did the letters, because it just didn't make sense the way that I had them. They didn't really seem to work. But I think that's where we're going to stop today. It's probably been close to an hour, about 50 minutes. So rather on the short side, but let's take a look at what we've got. Got a pretty decent looking alphabet. I know we went through it a little bit earlier. Some of these could be a little smoother, but I think I might actually throw this into Photoshop or something and make some alternates based on the letters that we drew today, just to give it a little more variation without having to go through and draw other characters. Essentially, like what I had done with Devil Doll and Note del Cobra. So the original piece of lettering that we did was pretty standard, but then there is essentially a variant that has your rotating characters and stuff like that. This has a nice hand-drawn feel. It might actually be fun to go through and actually just hand-draw it on the iPad. But, yeah, we'll kind of see where that takes us. Yawn. Stay awake. You got motorcycle ads to do. The letters were looking terrible, so I had to stop. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. These question marks I don't like. I kind of want these to be like smaller.
What's the point? Hooks and
But,
lines. Lose one, you rig one.
you know, it is what it is. We're not going to fully make this anytime soon, but maybe we'll host some sort of voting thing. I'll probably bring some of these into 31 Days of Horror fonts, and you can vote on them at some point. I don't know. But that's Horror Font Friday for you this week. Sorry, it was kind of random, and yeah. I still think you're great, and I'm excited to see what we do next week. Let's pull this out here and take it for a little spin. Oh! Thanks for hanging out with us today. Horror Font Friday, which doesn't even look like a horror font. But because of where it came from, it is. Alright, that's enough. I'm rambling at this point, and I've been doing it for way too long. I'll see you next week. Go check us out at remedy667.com, the best place on the internet for horror themed typefaces and fonts. And we'll see you next week for Horror Font Friday. Yes. Thank you.